Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining me tonight. My name is Sean McBrien. I'm a director of coaching for Newton Girls Soccer and NEFC Newton Academy. If I can ask everyone just to mute their phones or laptops or iPads, whatever they're using. This is recorded tonight, so I will send this out, or Marisol will send this out to everyone at a later date as well. Hopefully, can someone give me a thumbs up or let me know they can see my shared screen? I think Jason just did that. Perfect. Thank you, Jason. So kind of just wanted to get people together in terms of just explaining the restructuring of how club soccer is going to work next year. Um, on the one hand, it's going to be good because it's going to kind of follow school grade, which will be very similar to Newton Girls Soccer travel and Bayes travel. And there's a few other things we just need to cover tonight. I did hold a kind of informal Q&A last night with some parents at the field. Some topics came up, so we'll cover that tonight as well. If anyone has any questions, feel free, raise your hand, let me know, or wait to the end if you wish to do that also. So basically, as I mentioned there, club soccer, which is what the NEFC Newton Academy program plays in, is currently in a birth year format. From the fall of this year, fall of 2026 going forward, it will revert to a more school grade based starting August 1st. Now I know in Newton, the Newton public school system starts September 1st. The reason I this question last night, the reason it's starting August 1st, US soccer, is because different states across the country have different start dates for their school year. So I know I've got friends and colleagues that work down in Florida. Their school system for their term starts in August rather than September time. So, in truth, it really won't affect us too much. If there is a August birth year, if your child has an August birth year, we will work around that. Um, as I mentioned, this will help us because it will align us better with the base travel because they're school grade based. US soccer and club soccer. Did used to go by school grade about 10 years ago, and they switched to birth year. So thankfully, after 10 years of turmoil, they've moved back to school grade, which will help us and help us form teams. For question one then. So we have a range of teams made up of players from different school grades. I'll use the current youth fifth grade team, the U11 white team. About half of that team is made up of fifth graders, and the other half of that is made up of fourth graders. When we go to form teams for next year, we will basically look at the pool of players in general, see what our numbers look like, and Lily and I will look, and with the coach's help, we'll look at what the skill level looks like as well. Some teams might be purely school grade based. Some might be a mixture of school grade. Might be, if it was a fifth grade team, there could well be some fourth graders playing up. But we'll take that by case scenario, and we'll carefully look at what the skill level looks like, get coach feedback, and we'll also check in with parents as well on that team. I know a lot of teams this year. I can think of at least three teams have some of their strongest players are actually players that are playing from a younger grade. So we don't necessarily have to pull those teams apart and dismantle those teams. We can look at keeping them together for next year, but we'll take a good look at and we'll talk about this in a second when we look at the general pool of players for that school grade and what that team looks like, or what that age group looks like going forward for next year. So as you can see in the shared doc there, it's more of a hybrid approach we'll be taking. So it won't be purely school grade. It'll be a mixture of both. And basically, the reason we want to do that is we want to preserve some of the team continuity. We also want to make sure that we get the right balance and ensure that we have a competitive, highly competitive level of players on that team as well. Kind of already answers the second part of that question. Can my child still play up or down if it's the right development fit? Yes, we will discuss, coaches and Lily and myself will discuss with parents if we feel that it's in the best interest of the player to continue playing, maybe with a grade higher, or maybe a player would benefit from playing down a grade, if it's for skill development or physical attributes. But we'll look at that very carefully. We'll take a good as we've already began assessing players for next year. We'll take a careful look and try to make sure players are fitted in the right places where they should be. How will clubs evaluate special cases? Again, between myself, Lily, and the coaches, we'll discuss that with parents, and we'll look at very carefully how things go. We had one question last night. There was a parent who explained that their child moved in from a different state and is actually repeating a grade. So that was kind of a good question, good topic to come up, and one that we'll probably look at and make sure that we get right for going forward. Um, Again, as I've kind of mentioned a couple of times, depending on where we see your daughter best placed for next year, we'll have that discussion before we form that team and put that team together and send it out to parents. Like every year, coaches will change. We try to change coaches every 2 to 3 years to give players a new face, new voice. It is important that we're continue the right development for players and long-term development. We have some coaches who are better fitted with our younger teams, 77, third and fourth grade. We have some coaches who are more experienced working with players who are going to be approaching high school soccer in a year or two's time. So you may well see a change in your daughter's team coach for next year. We also have a bunch of new coaches joining us as well. We had three new coaches at practice last night. We also have had some assistants from Boston College, women's soccer team players helping us out at practice last night and on Monday night, which I know the players really enjoyed. But yeah, we want to make sure that we've got a strong coaching staff. Players are getting the best experience, and you're getting value for money also. Development pathway. One topic we talked about last night with a few parents was that there's a notion or misconception that our academy program finishes at eighth grade. It does in one hand in terms of being in Newton. However, we have a sister club, NEFC Chestnut Hill, which have a lot of our players that are high school age level players move across to, and they can also move across with their friends or they've actually a couple of our teams has moved as a team from eighth grade across to the Chestnut Hill NEFC program. It's a similar program to Academy. It pulls players from Brookline, Newton, Dedham, Wellesley, and Waltham. We also have our parent club, which I know some players move on to as well at NEFC. And that offers higher pathways of higher level teams that we can offer players going forward. Other clubs and other leagues are following this switch. I know of different colleagues working at different clubs are also having similar town hall type Zoom meetings with families. So they're also I'm picking their brain, they're picking my brain in terms of what are they doing. And they're doing something similar in terms of they are keeping some teams together, they are switching some teams up by school grade. So we are very much aligned with what other clubs are doing across Massachusetts. Is there a new tryout placement? No, there's not. We are actually having our ID clinics at the minute for any new players. We had about 16 new players join practice last night, various age groups. We had a couple of players join us on Monday night. I know with the April break coming up next week, I know numbers will be a little bit lighter, but we have two more ID clinics the following week, which will be the last week in April. We are planning to form teams and hopefully get information out to families within the first 2 weeks of May, which is typically probably ahead of what we've done in previous years. I know private clubs do that, and we're trying to keep up with them. What we will do, and I stressed this last night with parents, is that we'll not just send an invitation out to a player for next year without making sure that parents are aware who's on the roster, who the coaches are, and what the structure is in terms of logistics of practices, expectations, potential tournaments for next year. I know some private clubs will send out invitations to players and give you 24 hours notice to either sign up or decline, or lose your spot. And there's very little information goes along with that. We want to be as transparent as possible. So we want to make sure, and I know as a father myself, schedules is an important key part. So we want to make sure that we're upfront ahead of time, academy will probably follow a Monday, Wednesday practice schedule for the fall and spring of next year, with one weeknight practice for on Wednesdays, or sorry, not Wednesdays, during the winter time, either on a Wednesday or Thursday. The game format will be the same as always on Sundays. Um, we've had one or two Saturday games here or there, makeup games, etc., and then you have your typical tournaments throughout the year also. What else did I have for my notes? Timeline, logistics. That's pretty much it from me. I'm going to open it to the floor for any questions. Feel free to speak up, or if you wanted to wait to the end, you can do so also.
Hey, Brian, I got a question. Anjali is in the under 13 this year, and there's one NGS team. Are you expecting one team next year as well for this group?
That's a good question, actually. So that's one thing I should address. Our aim is to have at minimum one team per grade next year, or one team per age group, let's say. So right now we'd hope to have at least one for every grade. For the younger age groups, given the numbers and the interest levels, we'll probably aim to have two. So for third and fourth grade, for fifth and sixth grade as well, numbers are so high, and the pool level of talent is high also. So we'll look to have two teams. For the 11v11 teams, I would guess it would probably just be one team for a seventh grade team look and one team for eighth grade. Um, just based on what our numbers are looking at right now. Um, Going by, and again, we have players that do various sports and activities, which we totally support as well. We think it's a good thing to do in terms of cross training and stuff. But I'd say for the 11v11 teams, our roster sizes probably look between 17 and 19, but one team for seventh grade, one team for eighth grade.
Great, thank you.
Sean?
Yes,
Hey, it's Dana. Wondering, is town soccer still required to be on the academy teams?
good question. Yes, for the younger age groups, we have had more. And we're trying to be very conscientious of this, especially for the middle school age groups. So in the past, we have had parents reach out to us and say, my daughter goes to a private middle school or a private high school, but younger age groups, and has is required to do a sport during the fall season, winter season, and spring season. So we have allowed players to skip out of travel in seventh and eighth grade. Um, if we feel that the reason is valid. So what we would ask parents to do is reach out to us ahead of time, explain the situation, and let us know what their schedule might look like. And it would be on a case by case scenario. We had a couple of parents this past year who um, kids are doing various activities and sports in the fall and took fall season off from travel, but rejoined travel in the spring. We've had one family I know of that couldn't make anything in the fall just based on their schedule again, and is trying their best to do as much as they can in the spring season, but will only get to certain games. So yes, and yeah, so I would say on part of it is that we want to make sure the travel teams are still strong and have high skill level, but we also understand that it's important that we get that right balance for players. We don't want to overstress them in terms of too much training, too many practices, too many games, burnout, overuse injuries, and stuff like that there. So if there are concerns from those older age groups, definitely feel free to reach out, and we can definitely talk to you and guide you as best we can. It is a requirement for the elementary school grades that they still participate in travel teams.
Hey, Sean, just to clarify, did you say that the seventh and eighth grade won't be required to do travel as well as academy?
Yes. So not required, but encouraged.
Okay.
If you were opting out of, if you wanted your daughter to opt out of travel and do academy only next year, we would seriously consider that. But that would be only for the older ages, and we'd have to, and I would myself and Lily would have to have a discussion with the parents regarding, okay, what exactly is it that you cannot make for travel? Because we don't want to, we've got 3 or 4 teams per grade, and grade 7 and grade 8. We don't want to certainly quickly turn around and only have 1 or 2 teams next year. So we want to be careful that we don't completely wipe out travel teams. But we also, as I said, stressed before, we want to be careful that we're not players are not using overuse injuries or player burnout.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
If there's no more questions, I'm happy to stay on for a few more minutes if there's anything other topics come up. As I mentioned to the parents last night, if you get off this call or if you think of something tomorrow over the weekend that that came up, just a topic that came up tonight or something you thought about, please feel free to reach out to us. Send me an email, send Lily an email. We'll be on the field on Saturday for travel games. I think there's only one academy game on Sunday because of April break. But a lot of the academy teams are playing the following week. So feel free to reach out if there's any concerns or questions that you might have. New kits each year, Victor's asked there. I believe the cycle is for every 2 years. So I think this past year was a new cycle, so it should be good for the second year. So for the 2026-2027 year, it should be fine. So yeah, I'll hang on for a few more minutes. For those that want to sign off, not a problem. I have recorded this, so I will send it out. You'll see me in the field. You see Lily in the field, so feel free to reach out. I appreciate people taking their time tonight. If you're heading off on vacation, lucky you. Have a great time, and keep in touch, and we'll see you soon. No, Corey, your daughter, who's in second grade, does not need to do the ID clinic. Lily and the coaches will assess players throughout the practices, so there's nothing special. Basically, if you're in the program, we've got eyes on all the players right now. With what coaches are watching out, and between the Wednesday night practice and also the Saturday stuff, we've got you covered, basically.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate it.
you.
I'll go for number 2, Sean.
Go for it, Dana. Yeah.
So if daughter in particular is interested in trying out with some of the private teams and the schedule, it differs from the Newton Academy in terms of deadlines for deposits and so on. How would that work?
We can certainly have an open discussion about that when the time comes, when we have teams formed. We're not, I would guess for 7th and 8th grade, we will have a wait list. We won't have enough to form 2 teams. I don't think we'll have two teams that'll be I want to make sure that both teams get the right coaching, but also have the right competitive level. So we'll have to be very careful in terms of, if we put someone on a wait list and then if we offer someone a spot and they're, it's a week or 2 later and they still not responded, then we've got to go to the wait list sooner rather than later. So I think again, that'll have to be an open discussion with coaches and myself and Lily to see where things are at closer to the time when teams are announced.
Right. And maybe, I don't know if you have time, either one-on-one, either tonight or tomorrow morning, just to touch base one-on-one.
Okay, that works. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Okay, if there's no other questions, I'm going to end the call and we'll send this out recorded. And as I mentioned before, if there's any other questions or follow up, we'll see you in the field or you can touch base over email. Thank you.